Hey folks, in this video we're going to talk about supine positioning for sleep as well as neck positions that are kind of applicable to all positions. No matter if you're prone, side sleeping, or on your back, supine. So with supine, a lot of us struggle because a lot of us spend a lot of time in this position, sitting. You're going to get stiffness in your hips. So by you going to lay in a flat out straight position, what ends up happening is that you get extra tension on your back. So a lot of us are not comfortable laying in this flat position because your hamstrings on the back and your quads on the front pull because your knees are dropping down, pull on your back. They pull on your pelvis. Okay. So the easiest modification and the first modification for this is to put a pillow under your knees. Because now, if you watch the prone video, you'll find that I'm in that same position. So, except for I'm flipped, imagine the bed is here, and then instead, I have a pillow here. Because again, we want to take the tension off of your hips, okay? So now, I should be able to lay here, and if your pillow is wide enough, then you should be able to rotate your legs a little bit or your hips a little bit and still be kind of comfortable. The other thing that this helps a lot with, it allows that rotation, because you see a lot of people, a lot of you might do this, is that you end up sleeping in this position. Because it's not comfortable, because some hips rotate, your legs will not stay balanced straight up and down whenever you sleep. They have to relax because we can turn our hips inward and outward. Then having them straight up and down is not in a relaxed position. So normally they have to go to one way or the other. So that's why that pillow is nice, because now look how this knee is going to rotate outward, and now I don't have to do that hook move or the figure four move in order to let this hip relax. Because look how it pulls on my back as well, and now I'm reinforcing some of this lumbar rotation that can have other consequences when I get up. So even if under the knee is not comfortable, what you can do is just go underneath one leg. Now I can still be in that position, but now look how my back is still rotated. If you're not sure if you're in a neutral position, what you can do is put your both hands here next to your hips and then feel if I'm touching the same thing. So just to exaggerate for effect, look how now my legs are both straight up and down. You may not be able to see that on the video, but my legs are straight up and down. But when I go and touch my sides, this hip is touching like the front pocket. Actually, like I can stick my hand in my front pocket, whereas my left hand is actually touching my buttock. So that tells me that I'm rotated and that I need to square up. It sometimes will feel very, very weird because a lot of us are so used to being rotated. One final note on that first thing is that if you get to a comfortable position, and again, this applies to all modifications, is that if you find yourself and you get real comfy, you find yourself a good position and it's really comfy, what you can do is take your pillow and just tuck it underneath your fitted sheet, and then it'll stay there. You don't have to worry about it, moving it every night from time to time, okay? Day in, day out. That same modification applies for any of the changes that we make for sideline and for prone. The next thing, let's talk about shoulders. So what you'll notice is that look how when my elbow drops down, my shoulder goes forward, okay? So now this can sometimes put pressure on your shoulder and or can cause like some numbness and tingling, pins and needles kind of thing. So not all of us have the flexibility to do that. In general, this isn't a good position to be in, period, but because your shoulder should really be back here, but a lot of us have so much tension on the front that it's almost unavoidable. So instead, let's talk about what hurts and what doesn't hurt. And then we can try to improve things down the road. So the first thing you can do is you take our handy dandy rolled towel, and I'm just going to put that under my elbow to allow my arm to rest here. See how now my shoulder is in a more even position, right?
So this will allow me to be more secure. And also to not put pressure on the front of my shoulder. Okay? Now, some people, their shoulder doesn't like to rotate like this. So instead, and this is something that I personally do, is that you can take this pillow, put it here, so that has the same effect as the rolled towel, but now my arm can rest on the other half, and so now this supports it, okay? And now I don't have to rotate my arm as much while I'm trying to stay in that neutral position. If you needed to exaggerate it even more, I could take that, like let's say you had shoulder surgery, I could take that rolled towel, put it underneath the pillowcase, and now I'm even in a more ergonomical position, all right? Furthermore, this is essential whenever you sleep elevated. Some people have to sleep in recliners or whatnot, and so you're really kind of hiked up. But the problem is, so like here, now I'm half elevated, but now look how that, because I'm now kind of flexed forward a little bit, flexed up a little bit, look how now the angle between my shoulder and my elbow is even more extreme. So so this is where it becomes absolutely essential that you have something here to support your shoulder and not put pressure on the joint itself, okay?
The final thing is necks, okay? So the problem is that because your neck can move so many different directions, what ends up happening is that your head is supported by the pillow and your body is obviously supported by the bed. And so if I'm laying down on my side, let's say, you're putting pressure that way. And so you get this pressure on your neck that way. So the easiest thing to do is to take a rolled towel. Well, first I'll show you the pillow only method. So here, now look, I'm going to take my pillow and I'm going to roll it here. So now instead of my neck sinking down or being like this, now I'm going to fill in this whole gap. So that's why I'm going to take this, I'm just going to roll this a little bit. There, now my neck is supported and my head is supported. Again, because your neck is in front of the back of your head. Okay? So sometimes that's not enough support. So what you can do is you take our handy dandy rolled towel, and you just stick that sucker right at the base of your pillow. So just like that. Look at that. Okay? That way, now that'll give you really nice support. And the best part, by putting it in a pillowcase, it doesn't move. So I'm going to just adjust it a little bit, and right here. Now I'm not only getting pressure on the back of my head, but now it's spread evenly from the base of my shoulders all the way up, the base of my neck at my shoulders, all the way up to the top of my head. So, and then by putting it in the pillowcase itself, it stays there. Now again, look how small that space is. So instead, what we can do is, if you get a beach towel or bath towel, then it can be spread from side to side. So no matter what position that you roll over into, or no matter where you like to put your head on the pillow, you still get that neck support. And again, the outside of my head is still wider than the soft stuff, because remember, this is all soft stuff here. So there's just the spine on the back side of your neck. So even without the pillow here, now my neck is not supported. But if I go here, now all of a sudden, look how my head is much more supported. Or maybe it might be hard to tell from the video, but you would definitely feel that difference. And then the final part, and this is again applicable for prone, my neck is supported, sideline as I just showed, and then supine on your back as I showed in the beginning. Okay, so these universal changes are great. The final piece to that is that this might be too thick. So what you can do instead is unroll it. You can either tuck the tail underneath the pillow like that, or you can just cut it off, and then you'll have just this size, or whatever size you choose, and that'll be the part that runs the length, and then you'll have that, and it'll be you'll be able to leave that there, and then just whenever you wash everything, you just take everything apart and throw it in the washer just like you would.